Hello, and welcome back to Traversing the Cosmos, the astrology podcast. My name is Fola, and I'm happy you're joining us for today's episode, which will cover the final days of Aries season. We made it, y'all. It was a bumpy ride, but we made it through wiser and a bit more courageous than we were before. Taurus season has definitely got some tricks up its sleeve, but they're pretty magical for the most part. This Aries season has been one intense transformation after the next, and the upcoming days will be similar, but with a twist. Now that Venus has joined the Aries party, things are likely to liven up. This podcast will focus on the collective transits happening from April 15th through the 19th. It's the Aries season finale. Let's get into it. We are starting the week of April 15th off with a bang. Well, now that I think about it, maybe it's really just another Monday morning. On Monday, the 15th at 10:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mercury retrograde will make a conjunction with Chiron in Aries at 19 degrees. We are well aware by now that any planetary interaction with the asteroid Chiron will bring an opportunity to learn from, heal, or move beyond past hurts by bringing light to them. How does Mercury work with this energy? It forces you to talk about what's been bothering you, whether that's having a dialogue with someone or simply writing in a journal. Contemplation is the key. With Mercury being in Aries, there is a tendency to argue in the atmosphere. While I do believe getting into it may be necessary for some in order to spark a much deeper evaluation, there is also a call to resist arguing and simply surrender to whatever messages you are receiving. Listen, receive, then discern. On this day, the opportunities for feedback or clarity will be omnipresent. For some, the messages will emerge from your awareness. This is a beautiful time to choose stillness and reflection. If you don't have to be in the office on Monday, 10:15 through 11:15 a.m., this would be a wonderful time to take a yoga class, meditate, pull tarot, or journal. A retrograde Mercury loves to take inventory of the self, and Chiron is diving deep into your personal landscape. Not to mention, Chiron is still lingering at 19 degrees, the same degree point of the Aries solar eclipse, indicating that there is something still being worked out before this juncture of your healing is complete. There's actually a few more Chiron conjunctions with Venus, Mercury, and Mars slotted for our near future that I believe are major contributors to becoming fully healed. Right now, it feels like the new moon illuminated something in your life that deserves a fuller, more authentic, and brave version of yourself. And Chiron is meeting up with your personal planets to tend to the imbalances. Together, Mercury and Chiron are working to examine our internal processes and structures of thought. This is the second of 3 conjunctions for the pair. The initial union took place on March 20th, and the final meetup will happen on May 6th, the day before the Taurus new moon, and when Mars will finally be in its home sign, Aries. I bring up Mars because as of now, it is debilitated in the sign of Pisces, lagging behind the group. It may feel as though you have been receiving tons of information or inspiration that has yet to truly go anywhere, and that is due to Mars. Being that Mars is the ruler of Aries energy, it also affects the way that Aries energy is expressed. When it's not doing so well, the other planets in Aries are like football players without a coach to call the plays. Mercury, Venus, the North Node, and the Sun have their plans for the future. Maybe they aren't as fully fleshed out as they should, as with Aries energy in general, but the plans are there nonetheless. And they are moving forward, but there's a holdup. Mars, the planet of action and drive, is languishing over there in Pisces and throwing a wrench in your plans. It's more than okay if you felt like you could be doing more or that your energy is somewhat lower than you expect. Mars is in Pisces, and so we are not meant to take off just yet. We collectively still have some wounds to transcend and some adjustments to make before we can charge ahead. So, listen deeply today. Understanding may come in many forms and is likely to pass you by if you are unaware. This energy wants you to lean in. Refuse to run away from your pain. Accept any and all blunders made in the past or present, knowing you are ever evolving and can always choose the new. Practice your affirmations during this time. Analyze how they make you feel and recognize any uncomfortability that arises. The last few days of Aries season is the perfect time to actively engage in turning a lesson or realization into tangible growth. There's a potential to be able to witness the timeline of your awareness shifting from thought to action. Decisions are what make up the versions of ourselves that we see now. We always have the power to re-envision ourselves and make decisions born from a new sense of wholeness. The only question I have for you is, who do you want to be? A few days later, on April 17th, Venus, the planet of beauty and values, will make a conjunction with the North Node and oppose the South Node in Libra at 15 degrees of Aries. The nodes have been idling at 15 degrees for a little over a month and making multiple conjunctions here. This is significant because the 15th degree of any sign is where the energy of that sign comes through the strongest. The North Node sitting at this degree point is magnifying the ram in each of us. It's begging us to harness our willpower, brandish our swords, and go after what we want. When Venus comes in, she brings in an even hungrier vibe while simultaneously asking us what is most important to us. What do we need to continue? What do we need to feel satisfied? Venus doesn't simply want us to take action. It wants us to enjoy the things we commit to and invest our energy in. This energy will bring out the playfulness in our pursuit. It wants us to laugh and engage with others. It may make us more competitive than usual, but competition is only harmful when it makes you sacrifice your integrity. Keep it lighthearted if you can, and allow curiosity and spontaneity to enrich you. Keep in mind that the South Node, a tiny voice in the back of your mind, may seek to invalidate your pleasure. You may find yourself having to choose between cooperation or self-fulfillment. Venus is said to be thriving in the sign of Libra, where the South Node is right now, and in detriment in Aries. And I believe this is because most see Venus as the partnering planet. It's the planet of love and therefore is usually associated with unions. But Venus in Aries, this Venus placement is deeply invested with the union of the self. In its truest form, it does not seek validity or companionship beyond its own borders. Does this mean that people with Venus in Aries will never want a romantic relationship? No. It means that these individuals come to understand the immeasurable value of coming into perfect union with themselves. Love begins with you. Love yourself deeply, and you will never have a problem with showing love to others. As the North Node and Venus and Aries come together, we are all exposed to this great truth. We are all being encouraged to fall in love with ourselves, to admire our values, and to do the things that bring us joy. Know the value of your happiness and value the journey that following your heart will bring. Things to think about. What do I yearn for and why? What do I value about myself? Where have I compromised my values in the past? What do I find joyful? How can I bring more consistent, joyful action into my life? All right, the last transit of Aries season will take place on the transition day. While the sun will still be in Aries during the transit, it will transition into the sign of Taurus about 4 hours later. April 19th is going to be a jam-packed day of planetary interaction. At 4:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mercury retrograde will make a conjunction with Venus in Aries at 17 degrees. Depending on where you are in the world, you may feel this energy late the night before or early on the morning of. You may also be feeling the bottleneck energy of the sun being at 29 degrees, the anaretic degree of Aries. As the sun makes a final push through this pressurized point to release any outdated modes of being and course correct unbridled application, Mercury and Venus are sharing the secrets they've learned from their prior engagements. Venus is carrying forth the desires of your heart, and Mercury is revealing the enlightenment she received from working with Chiron. Together, they are opening up an avenue for you to share what you have been learning about yourself. This is a great time to verbalize your revelations, to speak your intentions into being, and to make your priorities known. It points to a valuable opening for individual free expression that seeks no harm to others, but wishes to be true to itself and its journey. If you can avoid passionate arguments, you'll be set. And I have faith in you. I'm going to leave you with this to ponder. What is something I am discovering about myself? What is something I am proud to have done? What do I see in my not so distant future? What will I have to overcome in order to get there? Who do I feel comfortable sharing my dreams with? Have I been sharing with them? Friday, April 19th will have some very impactful energy signatures intertwined with this Mercury-Venus conjunction, but this moment will close out Aries season 2024 for good. Thank you so much for joining me through this season of catalysts and personal growth. I will be back very shortly to do a deep dive into Taurus season, the transits, as well as the overall energy for each rising sign. I will also be doing full tarot spreads over on my YouTube channel, Cosmic Belonging, and a single card pull for each sign on the podcast. So if you're looking for an in-depth card reading, make sure to subscribe to the Cosmic Belonging YouTube. Oh, and don't forget, you belong. Until next time. Bye. Bye now.